welcome to Senior Circuit. My name is Ashley Speliotis. I'm the director of the Somerville Council on Aging. Today, we're joined by our Director of Veteran Services, Ted Louis-Jacques. Welcome and thanks for being here on Senior Circuit.
Thank you, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our departments work closely together during many initiatives, but for those who don't know you or haven't had the chance to meet you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Department of Veteran Services?
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, guys, my name is Ted Louis-Jacques. So I currently serve as Director of Veteran Services. Actually, February will be 2 years since I've been here. We are very excited about some of the services and programs and resources that we have for the department and for our veterans community. I work closely with my colleague Shannon Henry, and she's amazing at what she does, and the relationship that we have with the veterans and that we built with them is just I cannot speak enough of it. So we offer a lot of things, so I'm excited to get into this conversation with you and for us to take it from there.
Yeah, because we work together a lot to get services to veterans who are seniors or over 60, but you're really helping any veteran of any age. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. So the vision that we have for my office is that we focus on our 4 pillars. The number one is mental health resources for veterans and making sure that if they get in touch with us and in regards to that, we're able to connect them with the state or with the VA for that, especially particularly women veterans and women of color. So that's that. Second one is the homelessness population in Somerville. How do we deal with the homeless veterans that we have in the city? I mean, making sure that we're able to provide them housing, temporary housing, until we figure out long-term care for them. So we have a good partnership with the Mass Bay Veteran Center located at 2 North Street and many other stakeholders in the state. The third is a job creation. So if a veteran reach out to our office and looking for employment, we're able to help them either locally here in Somerville, which has happened, through the civil service, to the state, and also through the VA. We have different partnership with our state and federal officers and authorities to make sure that we're able to get veterans the job that they need in order for them to succeed and live a sustainable life. And the last part is really marketing and advertising. It's more internally. It's about us to figure out ways that we're reaching out to veterans out there, whether it is through community service, whether it's through a partnership with different organizations like such as yours, or in other offices. And it's really to make sure that we're telling the community as a whole that our department here and we exist, and anything that we may be able to help them with, that we'll be able to do so.
Right. I mean, it sounds like you have such a broad scope of services and services that are really in the forefront of people's minds nowadays, with the mental health services and homelessness, housing, job creation. It's, it sounds as though if people are in need but aren't quite sure where to go, your office would be a good way to start, or
exactly correct. That would be a good place to start. And I would say this, I have a sticky note right here on my computer about a veteran that reached out and that was facing eviction. It's really tough on the housing end to figure out the affordable housing, especially here locally in Somerville. But we will do our very best, working with the housing department, working with other places to see how we can get them to where they need to be and where they can live, again, a sustainable life.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks reach out to us in hopes to be connected with you because you do have a program where there's an emergency assistance offered when things kind of sneak up on you. And I know for sometimes our seniors, it's for people to help get home health aides in, or after an illness, there's an emergency. What other types of services would be covered under the emergency service program?
Correct. So we have the Chapter 115, which is a state mandate. So it's a state mandate. So for each city and town to have a VSO, a person in my role to really be out there and be an advocate for veterans, right? So through Chapter 115, our clients, veterans, and their dependents are able to qualify for, a monthly stipend, pending household income. They're able to get Medicare courses covered, and we also assist them with SSI and SSDI. So it really depends on how we're able to get this going for our veterans. So this is why we tell them, if you're in need, if you're experiencing any difficulties, just reach out to us. We can see how we can get you qualified under that program to make sure that for the temporary moment, we're able to answer some of the needs that you have. And then also look at a long-term way in order to get you in the best situation possible.
Yeah, right. I mean, that is so important to look really at the immediate needs and then looking more into the long term as well. But I think you also made a really great point when you said that, sometimes the applications, they can be daunting and you're not quite sure if you qualify or not. And really just knowing that you're here in the community is an asset, because sometimes you just don't know where to look. And honestly, sometimes the VA system can be a little daunting or confusing, because it seems like there's state resources and federal resources and the VA as a whole. And what would you like to share with people to say what the differences are between all the systems that people sometimes just refer to as the VA?
Of course, yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. So often people get, my department confused with the VA. They say, well, Ted works for the VA. Well, I work collaboratively with the VA, and we have local agents from the VA that are in the greater Boston area that I can connect with as a partner, as someone that I can rely on, as some sort of authoritative figure on behalf of the VA that I can talk to about certain issues. For example, like VA disabilities. I have a great relationship with the Boston regional office downtown at the JFK building. There I'm able to take veterans, to make sure that they're able to file their VA disabilities, their claims, if anything arises. We have a good partnership also through the housing unit at the VA, to making sure that looking at a different federal housing, for example, to see how can we get them qualified, what application do they need to submit, what sort of letter are they looking for. And what I always tell a veteran is that if you're out there doing the right thing and doing what you're supposed to do, you just know that we will always serve as a reference on your behalf while we're trying to get these information forward. So the VA, the Veterans Affairs, is federally run. They offer different assistance, but us down here in Somerville at the Department of Veteran Services, we're able to offer some programmings along with the state that are different than the VA. And sometimes, for example, the VA will, in order for you to receive any sort of benefits, whether it's educational, whether it's a VA home loan, or whether it's a job training, you need to have a honorable DD-214, because that's your discharge paperwork that says you are leaving in good standing. However, there are other veterans that have left the service that don't necessarily have an honorable discharge, but they're still in need of housing, of jobs, mental health resources, so we work with them as well to make sure that they're still getting the necessary help that they need while we're trying to get their discharge paperwork upgraded to an honorable discharge where they can access other resources. So it's a very different system, but we work collaboratively together.
Right. It sounds as though maybe some of your services and offerings overlap a little bit, and some are distant or different from what each offers, but that a good starting point would still be to connect to your office, because you can guide them through the process and guide them to which office or department they need to go to federally.
Exactly correct. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it also sounds like there's just the huge breadth of services out there. And again, to start with, if you're in need or you're thinking that you may be a benefit, or even just to kind of hear what's happening within the VA, or to hear what you may qualify at some point in the future, that you have different outreach materials and education that's offered, even just an inquiry.
Correct. Yeah, that is correct. Because what happened is a veteran can be as young as 18, 19, 20 years old, and as old as 100 years old, like we celebrate Marvin Spitzer with a drive-by car parade. So the range of issues can be very different, and there's a stark difference between someone that's 30 and what he or she may need from the VA versus someone that's 89 years old. Or they could have some similarities as well. But, so where, a young veteran might need help with going back to school, getting a VA home loan, an older veteran might need help with, a hearing aid disability application, etc. So, but we are able to help all of them. And again, the need is to just reach out to our office and see what you may qualify for, what you may need, and we'll be able to assess you and help you.
I think you made a great point of the people's needs are different as they age. And we also hear a lot of times people share with us about their history in the armed forces, but also with a sense that it was so long ago and there's so many people after them that perhaps they could use the services more, or that somebody might not qualify as they age. But it sounds as though despite any age or any length of time in the services, there are still resources to learn about and to hear about.
Absolutely, and that's 100% correct. And that brings me up to a good point, to a project that we're working on right now, which is the Veterans History Project, and that's through a partnership with the Library of Congress in DC. And how do I say this? The point of of this project is to really have these veterans that have served in World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, and then some of the later ones, to really be able to share their stories, share their time in service with us, with me, as I will be asking them the questions, to share about what it was like to be in that time. And so, and the cool thing is, the veteran, after the interview is all done and wrapped up, they will receive a copy of the interview, and one interview will be stored at the Library of Congress for life. So anybody can just say, hey, look, I remember when Corporal such and such was in service or was alive. Let's look him up at the Library of Congress to see what his story was or what her story was. So this is again something that I'm looking forward to doing and participating with our veterans. It will give them a piece of a sense of honor, a sense of service that they committed and did done to our nation. And it's also a way for the next generation to learn about the work that these people have done that came before them that allow us to have these amazing opportunities and freedom today in America.
Yeah, that sounds like such a wonderful project. And we see on the news and in our own lives of people getting older and those stories of World War II being lost. And this sounds like just an amazing way for history to be preserved and for the families. You mentioned, I believe, that the person receives a copy of the tape. So to hold that in a personal history is quite the gift that you're giving to many of our families and residents of Somerville.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah. I know that another way that you're preserving history is that your office oversees all of our monuments in Somerville. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and portion of your work?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So we have the Veterans Commission, who oversee the monuments, memorials, and dedications in the city. Before, it used to be of any person in the city that we would do these dedications for. But now it has since shifted to only military members and past service members. So basically, through that is a person, a family member, is able to put in a request to have a Hero Square dedication, like a street corner sign of, his or her a family member that served in the U.S. military. So with that, what they're able to do is they'll submit an application to us, to our office. We will then review it and to make it deemed like appropriate for that person to receive such honor. And then on the day of, so they usually submit the application throughout the fall. Then the traffic and parking goes into work with the DPW to install the sign in the spring. Then late April, early May, then we do the dedication. So at the time where we have family members that are able to come out and celebrate this moment. So last May, during a Memorial Day weekend, that's when we made the announcement that it was going to be also dedicated to living veterans. So we became the first city in the Commonwealth to offer these dedications in memorials and monuments for living veterans. And it was a pretty big deal amongst the veterans community. And this is something that I consulted with many veterans in our community and thought that it would be a fantastic idea to not just celebrate someone or honor them after they have passed, but really to do it while they're here and while they're still in service with us. Because many of the time we do that. So we thought the shift or the change was something that was celebrated amongst veterans. So we're looking forward to the applications that we'll be receiving this fall, this year, and to see what that will look like if we have any living veterans amongst us that will receive an honor for that. So I'm looking forward to people submitting the applications, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it is such a great honor and such a change, it sounds, within the veterans community to be a leader in honoring folks past and present for what they've done for Somerville and our country.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. I know we also talked a lot about you giving out educational materials and advertising and marketing, what the VA and what your office can do for folks. And we didn't mention summer vet registration, which seems like a good way to stay in the know and stay up to date with what's happening with veteran services. But perhaps you can share a little bit more about what happens when you're on the registry and how you do take part in it.
Yes, absolutely. So when you when somebody goes to the website and they fill out the summer vet registration, it's really about telling us, that hey, I'm Ted. I live here in Somerville. This is what age group that I fall under, and this is what I'm able to provide, and or this is what type of services that I would be looking for, or to just literally say, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, this is my phone number and email. If you ever need any help volunteering or whatever it is, you can count on me to do so. So that's been a tool, especially during the pandemic, that's been very, very efficient for us, for veterans to reach out to our office. Of course, they can do the traditional way of calling, leaving a message, or emailing us at veterans@somervillema.gov. But Somervet is also very, very a cool trick that we have for us to connect with veterans. The email comes directly to me, and then from there I can literally, if this is something quick that I can answer, I usually reach out to the folks right ahead. I'll give you a quick example. Someone reached out to us through Somervet, but they also wrote on Facebook. I think it was this past Friday, and the person said to me that, hey, look, he used to be a Somerville resident and Somerville veteran. His family is very still active here in the community, but he has moved on to San Diego, California. I'm like, well, very lucky you, because you're in the sunshine, But he wanted to know on our website, could we put the Veterans Crisis Line phone number on there? I was just like, you know what? That's a very good idea. I have it in my email box, but I was just like, but if it's right at the top, when people click on our webpage and they see the Veteran Crisis Line and they're able to reach out to that number, I think that's a good idea. So now I'm working with communication team and Dan to figure out when can we put that up there so it can just be right on as soon as you log on to the page. This is a change this is easy how a change like that can happen. Some of you just reaching out to us, giving us an idea that could benefit us and benefit other veterans. Why not? Let's just do it.
Absolutely. It really sounds like your summer vet registration and your office, it really goes both ways to dispense information, but also to take in ideas and suggestions. And just kind of to reiterate what you've been saying all along as we come to a conclusion, is that if you're a veteran living in Somerville or have lived in Somerville, it sounds, and you have questions about services that you may qualify for, or if you're thinking like, hey, I really could benefit from this service, where do I start? It sounds like, Ted, your office, the Department of Veteran Services, is the place to do so, through email, through phone calls, or through Facebook and summer vet registration. So thank you very much for being here today and sharing about your office and your service. Thank you. And we will see everybody next month at our next senior circuit.
Thank you, Ashley. And thank you again for the time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.